What's poppin'? I'm Mocha Nicole.
Miss Mo Quick.
What it is, man? It's your dog, DJ Black, Mr. Fix Your Face.
Hey everybody, Portia Fox from the Portia Fox Morning Show.
Yo, what up, though? This DJ E Smooth.
And one on DJ Holiday, Mixtape King, Ciroc Boy, Commission Guy.
And we always listen to the Re-Up Recap. You're watching Re-Up Recap.
If you watching the Re-Up Recap.
And now you with the Re-Up Recap with my dog, Julio.
With my boy Julio.
With my boy Julio.
With Julio.
You are at the reupspot.com. And of course, we're about to get into that Re-Up Recap with Julio.
The Re-Up Recap, man, is the only place you need to go for that brand new hip-hop, man. Re-Up, the reupspot.com. You got to check it out, man. One on DJ Holiday, Mixtape King, Ciroc Boy, Commission Guy. And I'm telling you, man, where to go. You got to check it out. Don't play yourself.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to reupspot.com, where hip-hop culture is served daily, and it's definitely dope. What's going on? I'm your man, Julio, and this is the Re-Up Recap. Thank you for coming back. Let's get right into it. T.I., we'll start there. He got arrested. So apparently he was coming home into his residency, and for his community he has a HOA that actually has security. So you go through a gate with a security guard. So when he got to the security gate, from my understanding, the security guard was asleep. Now what happened was T.I. had to wake the dude up. They got into an argument about it, and from what I understand about the situation, T.I. told him he'll be back. So what he did was he came back, had some words with the guy. The guy got scared, I guess, or spooked, or whatever the case was. Called the police. Police arrested T.I. Now, I've seen a video of T.I. in lockup in the booking part. It wasn't actually him in the cell, but him in the booking part, trying to ask the officers why he was arrested. And they told him in the video, you could hear them tell him, because he came back. And that's not really a reason to, I don't know if they didn't want to elaborate, or they were trying to figure out why they did it and then try to give him an answer, or what the case was. But they told him that he was arrested because he came back. And he explained to him that's his right to come back, because he pays money out there for his multi-million-dollar house, and whatever the HOA is for that, which I can tell you, as somebody who does not have a multi-million-dollar house but does have a good amount of house, that his HOA has to be through the roof. It's more than most people's rent, probably. So he has every right to go up there and address it. Now, I'm not saying he was right or wrong for addressing it in the manner in which he did it. But nonetheless, it should be addressed. And he got stopped in the airport, I believe, by TMZ. And they asked him, had the community, the HOA, had they apologized to him? And he was like, nah, they hadn't apologized. And the guy asked him, did you pull the card? The T.I. card, letting them know, hey, you know who I am? And I love his response to it, because his response to it was like, nah, hell nah, I didn't pull that, because I pay taxes and I pay the HOA. I shouldn't have to pull that card. And you shouldn't. He shouldn't have to say, hey, I'm T.I., you got to do this. Nah, he is Clifford Harris, who pays the mortgage at whatever the address is and his residency, and he doesn't have to tell you it's him. It shouldn't matter who the fuck he is. It should only matter that you didn't do your job, you fell asleep, and he had to wake your ass up to let you in. Now, his job is to stay awake and make sure that people who do not live there don't get in. But if he's not paying attention and his ass is asleep and I gotta wake you up, first of all, that's not my job. That's a dereliction of duty. No, he's not an officer of the law, and no, he's not in the military. Nonetheless, it's still a dereliction of duty, because he's supposed to stay awake on post. Trust me, as somebody who has served in the military and got an Article 15 for doing that dumb shit, falling asleep, that shit is definitely against policy for whoever employs him, which happens to be that HOA. And he does work for him, because that he's employed by that HOA, which T.I. pays. So unless he's behind, which it still doesn't matter, that's not here nor there, he still has to do his job. Now, the fact this man had to get woken up on his job, he should be reprimanded in some way. I don't know if he should be fired, but they definitely owe him apology for the guy not providing the service in which he is paid to do, and keep it moving. But they haven't done it, and maybe they don't want his black ass out there. I'm not sure. People have ways of showing you you're not wanted, and maybe that's a way of them showing you, hey, we really don't want your ass out here. Now, I'm not saying he should move. I am saying they do owe him an apology, because he had to wake their employee up to do his job. And I don't know all the details of why the guy was scared to come out and talk to T.I. I don't know if you've ever met T.I. in person. I've had the pleasure of seeing him perform and actually meeting him and taking a picture with him. He stands about eye to eye with me, and I'm 5'10" and a half. So with that being said, he's not really an extremely big human being except for the children, just like I'm not. What I am simply saying is he's not physically intimidating. So unless you were scared he was coming with a pistol, and if you know who he is, I don't think he would take that extreme with you at a guard shack. He probably put hands on you at most. And like I said, he's not an extreme human being, so I don't know how much of a beatdown he could really give you, because I don't know how big the guard was or how much of a punk he really was or how his hands are. But nonetheless, I don't think the police should have been called. But if you felt scared for your life, I guess whatever the case was, do what you do. Nonetheless, I think the man deserves an apology, and hopefully he gets one. And like I said, that was some bullshit why he got arrested. Nigga, do your job. Stay awake. Stop going to sleep. I'm just saying. So moving on, Offset from the Migos. He had a hell of an accident. I don't know if you ladies and gentlemen had a chance to check it out. It's nothing to really check out, but it is posted. He posted himself, because when I seen the pictures, he seriously got messed up. He had like the neck brace on, mouth all bloody, hands cut up and bloody. He was lucky to walk away from the accident. No reports were done on the car accident. No law enforcement were called to the scene. None of that stuff. Nobody other than Offset appeared to be hurt in it. It looks like it was a one-car accident. I don't know all the details about it. From my understanding, he left the scene. You know, I'm assuming somebody came to get him, because in the condition he was, I don't think he just necessarily walked off. And they drove him to the hospital, and then he got checked out. It did look pretty bad. Thank God nobody lost their life. Glad he walked away. And it looks like everything will be okay for that young man. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but there's been video of a lawyer that went into some restaurant. The restaurant I didn't see, I don't know the name of, but he went on a racist tirade about people speaking Spanish inside the restaurant, from people standing in line, which is their free will, to people working there, and he had a problem with it. He went on to tell how he pays for their welfare. Mind you, these are people who are working at that point, so I don't understand what welfare he's speaking of. I don't necessarily assume because somebody has a job that works at a restaurant that they're on welfare, or they need anybody's assistance or help, or that they want it. And just because they speak Spanish doesn't make them any less of a person or anything else. But he decided to try to belittle them, and this dumbass, and I will say dumbass, if it ain't just Mexicans, he goes after anybody who does not look like him, even other people of the same religion, faith, whatever you want to call it or classify it as, because he went at a Jewish guy with a group of people who didn't agree with what they were doing, and so showed up in protest and told them they were fake Jews. And the guy asked him in response, are you Jewish? And he responded by saying yeah. So he seems to be the authority on everything white and Jewish all at the same time, and being ignorant all at the same time. But karma has a way of kicking you in your ass when you act this stupid. And Lord, did it show up, and it united people in a way that I haven't seen in a while. And I hope that people continue to get fucking exposed like this, and we find out who they ignorant asses are. Because not only did he get evicted from the building that he was renting the space in to practice law, his stuff got posted all over social media. People calling his office, which when it was up and running, I guess could receive the calls. He took down his Facebook page. But the great thing about the, well, not great, but the funny thing about it is this dumbass on his own law page, the page for his company, it says that they serve people who speak Spanish. So why in the fuck would you have a problem with anybody speaking a language in which you say you serve these people? So you are really ignorant, sir. And to top all this shit off, to make it even funnier, they put a GoFundMe together to have a mariachi band follow his ass around. Now, I don't think they got a chance to follow him around, but they did post up outside of the building in which he lives at. And some other people got together another day and threw a Latin party where they were playing all kind of Latino music, all kind of Spanish music, whatever you want to classify it as. That's what they were playing. Now, I may be calling it or saying it wrong and classifying it wrong, but they were playing a lot of Latin influenced music, and I thought that shit was absolutely classic and funny all in the same shot. So his name, because I have not given it to you, is Aaron Schlossberg. So you can look up that piece of shit and find out everything about him, from all the stuff that he does and all the videos, just for a laugh. All right, moving on to the more serious news. We had another shooting this week, and it's nothing funny about it. There's nothing, it gets to a point where it's damn near getting numb, and it's really irritating me that every other month, or however long the period is, that we're having more and more shootings. And I'm not one to take anybody's guns. I'm not. I own a few, or whatever the case is. You just need to know, when you come in my house and you ain't supposed to be here, I got some act right for you. But I also believe in doing everything responsibly, especially when it comes to weapons. Now, I don't know the answers, because I'm not a person that sat back and thought about all these laws, nor am I in a place to put them into effect. But we do need laws to stop people from being able to get AR-15s and whatever else weapons so easily. I'm not saying stop people from having weapons. I'm not saying take your weapons. What I am simply saying is put some laws in place to make it a little bit more difficult, so that a person that is dealing with depression, that actually is on record with some type of therapist, can't walk in and get that damn gun and do what this dumbass, or these dumbasses, because I believe there's 2 people in custody behind the shooting in Texas, in Santa Fe, Texas, did. Now, my question to all the parents out there: what in the fuck are you doing with your kids? These kids had weapons and homemade bombs. At what point were they able to put all this shit together that you didn't know any of this was going on? They had homemade pressure cooker bombs that basically you can look on YouTube and figure out how to make them. It's the same type of bombs that the Boston Marathon bombers used. Now, luckily, to my understanding, none of those went off. But nonetheless, they were able to do all this stuff. So they had these bombs that they made, and these weapons that were used in the shooting, or weapon. I'm not sure exactly how many weapons were used, but definitely one weapon that seemed to be a fully automatic rifle and a handgun. I think that's what he was captured with. And it's crazy to me how somebody, and you can call me out on it, whatever you want. It's just funny to me how suspects that have pigment in their skin, look like me, don't have their hand on a weapon, but somehow seem to get shot. Like Philando Castile, how he got shot by just telling an officer he had a gun in the car when it was his right to have it. But you have a guy who shot 10 innocent people. Well, actually more than that, 10 innocent people died. I think 10 more were injured during this, and somehow you captured him alive. But you can't do a traffic stop and stop somebody who has, you know, pigment in their skin, who kind of resembles me in one shade or another. I just find that extremely disturbing. Now that's another whole nother topic, but let's get back to this one. So I'm reading up on this somewhat because I'm tired of reading up on this. I really don't like looking at it because it makes me really depressed. The lieutenant governor, I think some things are just ignorant to say, because I don't think it has a bearing on things one way or the other. It's people pushing their religious agendas, and believe me, I have my beliefs in God too, but I don't push them off on other people and saying this is why this will make this a better place. He said, we don't blame the guns, the shit that actually killed people. No, let's blame abortion. Okay, how the fuck could you blame a person that's not here for this shit? Video games. let me get this right. Mortal Kombat never made me want to go out and shoot innocent people. Mind you, that game was fucking violent compared to the times when I came up. Let's see. Removing God from school. I'm sorry. God is in our hearts and what you instill in your kids. So the fact that we don't pray in the morning. Now, let me ask you something, Lieutenant Governor of Texas. Which God are you going to pray to? I believe in Jesus Christ, but everybody doesn't believe in that faith. You have Muslims, you have Buddhists, you have Jewish people. Are they going to get an option to pray for their God as well? Because I believe they should. If you've afforded the one, you have to afford it all. Now, here's the fucking kicker that you didn't think about. What about the atheist people? Or what about the ones who believe in Satan? Do they get a chance to pray to their God or to their prophet? I'm just saying. I don't believe in those prophets because it's not my religion. But who am I to say, oh, you can pray to God and Jesus, but you can't pray to your prophet? I'm just saying. Or could they pray to Allah? Is that too much? I'm just asking. Since you want to bring this into it, hey, call me crazy, but if you're going to allow people to pray to God, which I think we all should have the right to do, you have to afford those people the same rights without being alienated. And that's the problem. You're fucking closed-minded. You don't have a place for these people. You think these people belong over there. Nah, they belong right here. That's what makes America fucking awesome. We're a melting pot. So, I don't believe any of this stuff caused the shooting. You know what I believe caused the shooting? Poor fucking parenting and somebody who has a mental health issue. Those two things. You combine those and you'll end up with shit like this all the time, if not worse. So let's address parenting and let's address mental health and take this shit serious. Now, from my understanding, the guy who was shooting was in church a couple days before dancing around. So it's kind of hard, you know, that's where the parenting really comes in. You got to talk to your kid and then you figure out if they got mental health. And don't fucking baby your kid. Fucking address the situation and be a real fucking parent. Moving on to some bright stuff, and we're going to wrap this up. The NBA playoffs are well underway. The Eastern Conference Championship, the Western Conference, not championship, finals, and the Western Conference finals are well underway. All right, we'll start in the West and then go back to the East since I'm a LeBron fan. We'll end on that note. All right, Western Conference finals, game 3 was tonight. It was tied 1-1. And Golden State, of course, wasn't taking no shorts. They beat the shit out of Houston. They beat them like they stole some. I guess Chris Paul was saying he was as good as Steph Curry, except for the shooting part, but he was a better player. And Steph and them proved that they gonna beat that ass like a drum. So that's it for that. They're up 2-1. Like I said, I think it'll go 6 or 7 games. Anybody could actually win it. I just need the Rockets to step their game up and play like they played in game 2. I don't have the answer for you. If I did, I'd be a fucking coach in the NBA, but I don't. All I know is you need to do something and you need to figure out what you did in game 2 and repeat that a couple more times so you can make it to the finals. Moving over to the East Coast. All right, LeBron and them got beat raggedy. They got their shit beat out them in game 2. Boston beat their ass like they stole something. So game 3, heading into Cleveland, LeBron and them figured out what they needed to do. They came out firing on all cylinders. Not only did LeBron have another spectacular game, but his teammates showed up. And that's the one thing people are not giving them credit for. If they actually play and do what they're supposed to do. Now, I'm not saying Boston didn't have a bad game because they had an off game. But what I am simply saying is the Cavs would, if they were firing all cylinders, all the games, it actually would go to Cavs and they would win the shit in 5. I just think Boston has a better overall team if you look at the depth of the team. But if you took what Cleveland played, the actual players that play most of the game between Korver, J.R. Smith, Jeff Green when he does come in, Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, George Hill, and LeBron, with those 7 to 8 players, if they do what they're supposed to do on a nightly basis, I don't think that young team in Boston can mentally handle it. I mean, you look at Jaylen Brown's face in the second and third quarters and Tatum's face while he's sitting on the bench waiting to go back in, and they just look depleted. they're not mentally tough yet. Now they are awesome players. I think they will have the East locked up for the next 5-6 years, especially if LeBron takes his talents to the West. But they have to learn to be mentally tough. I think Marcus Smart is the most mentally tough person on that team, and Terry Rozier seems to be getting there. He's not there yet, but I think he seems to be getting there because he has a no quit attitude, and the young dude can play. But nonetheless, I think the Cavs will take this in 6 games. It may go to 7, but nonetheless, I think the Cavs will win it, and my man LeBron will go back to the Western Conference, go back to the NBA Finals. So that's it for the re-up recap this week. It was long because I had a lot of shit to get off my chest. Make sure y'all come back every week right here on reupspot.com, where hip hop culture served daily is definitely dope. Thank you, King Brand, for sponsoring this segment. Anybody want to get at me, make sure y'all check out. I got all the links in the bio. Hey, till next time. Peace.